When we'd finished with the shop, it looked fantastic. Perhaps rather more Diwali than Christmas, but Gan and I were really chuffed with it. All Monday we gloried in the compliments from customers. Then, on Tuesday, a postcard of the Taj Mahal arrived from Uncle Hari, and the atmosphere changed. Ganesh stopped buzzing cheerfully and skulked around beneath the crepe paper chains. He'd propped the card on the gold tinsel-trimmed shelves behind the counter along with the cigarettes, and kept giving it hunted glances. I'd already guessed that Ganesh was up to something, because he'd been making furtive phone calls over the previous week and looking pleased with himself. I knew it wasn't just the approach of festivities and seasonal sales. I could see he was dying to tell me, especially during Sunday when we'd been pinning up the decorations. But I wasn't going to encourage him, although I was longing to know. With the arrival of the postcard, he stopped looking smug and became clearly worried. Eventually, he came clean. We were having our coffee break. The early morning rush had thinned. There was no one in the shop for the moment, and the emptiness of the rain-swept pavement outside suggested things might stay quiet all day until the usual early evening flurry of trade. We didn't have to go upstairs to the flat to make the coffee, because we had an electric kettle downstairs, which I filled with water in the washroom. The building's old and long ago converted from what must have once been quite a nice house. There are 2 ways up to the flat, one from the shop, using the former back stairs, and a separate one from the street. The downstairs washroom was at that time a museum of antiquated plumbing and fixtures, tacked onto the back of the building in what must have seemed at the time the height of modernity. It was all as clean as it could be kept, given its general state, but that was terminal. The wash basin was hanging off the wall, the tap dripped, any wall tiles were loose and cracked, and the floor tiles had gaps between them. The vent for the extractor fan was clogged with dust and dead flies. The lavatory cistern was operated by a chain which had lost its handle. It clanked furiously whenever it was flushed, and the cistern lid was loose, so if you didn't watch out there was always a chance it would fall down and brain you. The loo itself was a pièce de résistance. An original, no kidding, patterned all over with blue forget-me-nots. It had a wooden seat with a crack in it which pinched your bum. I tell you, anyone ventured into that washroom at his peril. I called it the Chamber of Horrors. Ganesh, to be fair, had been grumbling to Hari about the state of the washroom ever since he'd moved there. But whenever Hari was tackled, he always replied that he wasn't a rich man who could afford to replace everything just like that. "Besides," he'd declare, "look at such a beautiful lavatory pan. Where would I again get such a wonderful object?" He usually ended up by promising to get a new tap washer, but even that got put off indefinitely. On this particular morning, I steered my way to the counter, carrying a mug of coffee in either hand, and said crossly, "The least you can do, Gan, while Hari's away is fix that dripping tap." At that, Ganesh, who since the postcard's arrival had been brooding darkly in a corner like Mr. Rochester on a bad day, brightened up. He chortled, rapped out a rhythm on the counter with his palms, and, just as I was deciding he'd gone bonkers, let me into a secret. "I can do better than that, Fran. I'm going to get the whole thing done out, ripped out, fixed up, everything brand new, while the old bloke's away." He beamed at me. I stood there, slopping coffee and gawping. I'd only set my sights on the new washer. Ganesh must have got Homes and Gardens down from the shelf and let it go to his head. "Hari won't agree," I said. "Hari won't know. Not until he gets back. And by then it'll be a, fait accompli, that's what they call it." "They call it a screaming hysterics," I said. "That's what Hari will have when he sees the bill." Ganesh took his coffee from me, stopped looking smug, and started to look obstinate. "He left me in charge, right? I'm empowered to sign checks on the business and everything, right? So I'm going to get it done, and he can make as much fuss as he likes. What's he going to do, sack me? I'm family, he can't. Anyway, I know the stingy old blighter. He always carps at spending money, but once it's gone he shrugs it off. When he sees how good it looks and how reasonable the cost was, he'll get over it. It's improving the property. That has to be good, and if he still argues, I'll tell him health and safety at work rules didn't allow the old one. They probably don't. It'll cost a bomb."